Okay, for today children, I am taking few questions from this exercise. Question number 2 and 3 I am discussing with you. Okay, you all keep doing questions stepwise, and then I'll keep discussing 2 to 3 questions a day for you. Okay, but make sure those many questions you're doing properly, understanding them. Okay, all right. So, like the first question here, I have done third, fourth, and fifth part from that question. Okay, so first two, after having seen these solutions, and I've asked you to see the solved examples as well. Just try if you can do first and second on your own. Okay, because these things are just not to be copied and mugged up. Okay, so question number 2, this figure is given to you children, and they are asking you to find these unknowns x, y, z, where they have told you that this figure is a parallelogram. So first, finding this symbol, you all know, signifies an angle of 90 degrees. Okay, so these two vertically opposite angles, whenever two lines intersect, vertically opposite angles are equal. So the first one you obtain by that theorem, that x will be equal to also 90. This was 90, so x will also be 90, because these are vertically opposite angles. And you have to mention the reason children. Okay, in geometry, figure and reason for your solution is must. Just writing x is equal to 90 is not going to fetch you marks. Okay, so first thing is you draw your figures, because without figure the examiner cannot tally what you have done is making sense or not. Second, you have to give the reason. Just writing it doesn't help. Okay, so x is equal to 90 with the reason that these were vertically opposite angles. Next is, now if you focus here, you have a triangle in which one angle was given as 30, x you have evaluated, so you're left with only one unknown. So x plus y plus 30 is equal to 180 by angle sum property of triangle. We all know three angles of a triangle sum up to give you 180 degrees. Okay, so keeping that in mind, your x plus y plus 30, and we have already evaluated x as 90. 90 plus y plus 30 is equal to 180. 90 plus 30 becomes 120. 120 plus y is equal to 180, or y is equal to 60 degrees. Okay, then the third leftover angle was z. So z and y, now if you see in this figure, these two, parallelogram means opposite lines or pairs are parallel. So these two lines are parallel. This is acting as a transversal. So your y and z are alternate angles. You've done parallel lines. Okay, so alternate angle for parallel lines are equal. Therefore, z, which will be equal to y already evaluated as 60. So your z is also 60. Reason, you of course you have to mention, I wrote z is equal to y because these are alternate angles for parallel lines. All right. Next figure, fourth one given to you is this. In this, x and 80, adjacent angles of parallelogram. Remember all those properties, adjacent angles of parallelogram are supplementary. So x plus 80 is equal to 180, because these were adjacent angles of parallelogram. So your x comes out to be 180 minus 80. 80 will go to the other side. So 180 minus 80, that is x is equal to 100 degrees. Now for y, that's all the more short. I've shown you with this arrow. These are opposite angles, and opposite angles of parallelogram are equal. So y is equal to 80. Reason, you will say opposite angles of parallelogram. Fine. Then z. Now, as I've shown you out here, if this is a parallelogram, these two lines are parallel. So this is again acting as a transversal, and these will become your corresponding angles. Right? And corresponding angles are also equal for parallel lines. So your z straight away comes out to be 80. Mention the reason. Corresponding angles of parallel lines. Fine. Okay. Next figure was this fifth one. Now in this one, finding your y is most convenient. Opposite angles of parallelogram again. So y is equal to also 112 I've written, and reason, opposite angles of parallelogram are equal. Then again you have a triangle like in the previous first figure, third figure, that was according to the book. So your x plus y plus 40 will again be 180. These are angles of a triangle. Sum up to give you 180 degrees. Okay, that's up to you how elaborate you want to write the reason. So x is coming out to be, y we had already evaluated as 112 in the first step. You will put that value here. So x plus 112 plus 40 is equal to 180. Adding these two, you get 152. Taking 152 to the other side, you get your x as 28 degrees. All right. Now again, parallel lines, z being formed here. So x and z are alternate angles. So Z that you have to find next, you can write straight away as X because alternate angles for parallel lines are equal. So Z will also be 28 because X has been evaluated as 28. Fine. Okay, now question number 5 had given you certain conditions and they were asking that if ABCD figure is a quadrilateral is given to you, ABCD, any quadrilateral given with these conditions, then is it possible that this ABCD quadrilateral will be a parallelogram? Okay, so in first case they had said sum of angle B and D is given to you as 180. So from the figure ABCD, remember that in any quadrilateral, parallelogram is also a quadrilateral, you have to name these in orders, okay, cyclic order. ऐसा राउंड इट हैज टू गो ए बी सी zigzag नहीं करते हैं ए बी के बाद आप सी यहाँ लिख दो ओके यू डोंट हैव टू क्रॉस इट सो दीज आर क्लोज्ड फिगर्स रिमेंबर सो क्लोज्ड फिगर है सिंपल कर्व तो यू हैव टू move along the line and name the vertices. Okay, so anyways you were told angle B plus D. So from the figure if you observed angle B and D are opposite angles. Okay, so if they are opposite angles, this is just considering that this figure was a parallelogram. In parallelogram we know opposite angles are supposed to be equal, so I have assumed let this be a parallelogram, so B and D will be equal. I've called it as X. So your X plus X is 180 or which gives you X as 90. So 90 degrees is a possible angle. That means it is possible to have a quadrilateral with B and D as supplementary even if it is a parallelogram. So your first answer for the first one would be yes, this figure can be a parallelogram. Okay. For the remaining two conditions, if you see, you were given AD as 4 and BC as 4 point something, I think. Okay, I have lost the question here. You all can check yourself. So from there, from the measurements, you'll realize that your AD and BC are not given equal, and from the figure AD and BC are opposite sides. So for a parallelogram, opposite sides are supposed to be equal. So if AD is not equal to BC, then opposite sides are not coming equal. Therefore ABCD cannot be a parallelogram. Okay. Likewise, in the third condition, they had given that A and C's measure are different. Angle A here, angle C here. These are opposite angles. इनके measures अलग given है आपको. Okay. So, your angle A is not given equal to angle C means your opposite angles are not equal. Hence, this figure cannot be a parallelogram. Okay. Read through all the solved example, children. Properties. Then try to see what solutions I have done here and follow it properly. Okay, geometry creates a lots of problem, but if you take your time and you study it properly, you will understand everything. Okay, so I'm not going fast with the questions. I'm just giving you 2 questions, 4 questions a day so that you can focus and understand those properly. Okay, so finish it off till here, understand this much properly, then tomorrow we will continue with the remaining questions.